Hey guys, Josh from Solution Based. We're going to talk more about what type of system you have. This happens to be a wall-mounted mini split. It's by Fujitsu. Comes in a couple different incarnations. You can get the wall-mounted one like this. There's what's called a floor-mounted, but it's a misnomer. It's actually wall-mounted close to the floor is really what it is. There is a ducted version of this. So that's pretty much, there's a cassette version that goes in the ceiling, but they all basically do the same job. These are air conditioners that do their work without duct. That's why they're called ductless. This has a set of refrigeration lines and a communication wire and a drain that come out of the back of it and then run down. The drain just goes outside, but the rest of it goes out to the condenser that's outside that then provides the control wiring, power, and then the refrigeration that comes back and forth to the evaporator that's inside here. I want to cover a couple of things about these things that are trouble. And just my thoughts on them. And these are just my thoughts from years of experience, but these are a very misapplied piece of equipment. Guys will come in and say, oh, we'll put ductless in your whole house, you know what I mean? And they'll put 12 of these in your house, or 7 of these in your house. And the problem with that is this. One, you're going to spend nearly as much money as you would getting a ducted system, sometimes more, sometimes less, but you're also putting in a product. This only lasts about 10, 12 years. So you're getting less years of use out of it when you do a whole house with these. I don't really agree with putting them in a whole house unless it is absolutely necessary. There are advantages. You can control each room temperature individually. That's nice. You can have them at different temperatures. That's nice. But the downside of it is each one of these is an evaporator, a fan, logic, controls, all in one. So as this system ages and you have 8 of these in your house, and as it's getting to 6, 7, 8 years old, and out of 8 heads, 3 or 4 break in one season, well, that's a lot of expense to go through compared to a typical system that has one fan and one set of controls and different things that there's just one of. This gets magnified in complication. It is also a very complex system because of its inverter technology, which I won't bore you with the details of that. It just runs on a different voltage to be able to do what it does. And what it does is amazing. This thing will modulate. You can turn this on and get full blast all the way down to Prius mode, and it will coast and give you really efficient, comfortable climate control. So when used appropriately, they're a fabulous piece of equipment. Where do these go? These go in single spaces that are hard to condition. They go, and this one is in the maid's quarters of a 300-year-old home, and because of its location, it does the maid's quarters that's in front of us, and then it actually provides enough cooling. Won't do heating, but it'll provide enough cooling. If you turn the louver straight down, it'll go straight through the doors and get the kitchen, the summer kitchen that's below here. So this is a tough application to get ductwork into. It's all exposed beams downstairs. This is the perfect place for a mini split like this. So my thoughts on mini splits are this. If you're going to do 1 or 2 rooms, they're perfectly fine. 3 at the absolute most, but typically I stick to 2 rooms or less. You want to exhaust all the options to get a ducted system in first, and then go to this as the only reasonable choice at that point. So if you actually have one of these, there's a little bit of a learning curve. This one in particular comes with a remote. Some of them come with a thermostat on the wall. That's an option. You have the ability to control this louver, the louvers that go sideways. You can put them on oscillate, and in our minds, we set this on 70 degrees, and wherever this is, reaches 70 degrees. That's not how this works, and this is the biggest adjustment that people need to understand, and that is the temperature that this thing is set at. You're setting it, the unit, to that temperature, and it reads it and goes, okay, I know what you want. Then this thing operates on its own. There's no communication with this at this point. It doesn't tell it, okay, it's 70 in here now. This does not. What does do that is a thermistor that's inside the return up here. So it is reading the temperature where the unit is, not where you are. And that's the biggest adjustment, because often, like this one, they're installed close to ceilings. That means you may need to adjust your expectation on the setting point to get the actual comfort you're looking for where you are. If this thing's 12 feet in the air and you're running heating mode, well, all that heat's trapped up here and it's sucking it in and thinking it's 70 degrees. Well, it's still 62 degrees down where you are. So you need to there's a learning curve to be able to push the air where you want, especially in heating mode, to get it to respond and give you the comfort you're looking for. And when you're first learning how to use these, they can be very frustrating because you're not understanding that this is not reading the temperature, this is. So what I would say to you is, if you're just getting one of these for the first time, throw away everything you think about what you like your temperature set at and do it based either on comfort, or buy yourself a little room thermometer and set it in the room and see, does it take 75 on this to get my room to actually be the 68 that I want it to be? Well, if it does, that's okay. Well, how about when I put the louvers pointed straight down? Does that help? How about if I put it on oscillate up and down or oscillate side to side? Each room that one of these things is in takes a little bit of a different optimization to get out of it what you're looking for. So I encourage you to buy a little pack of Amazon thermometers, $12, or I think they're $6 for a 4-pack. Throw them around the room and then play with it until you get what you're looking for out of it. And you may need to adjust that season on season, because again, you don't have a conventional thermostat like you're used to. So you have to kind of teach yourself how to get out of it what you want. And if you take the time to do that, it's a fabulous piece of equipment if used correctly and installed correctly, and you must install these correctly. These things are fussy. They are super miniaturized and super tight, and they must be done right the first time, or they will cause you nothing but headaches. So all equipment, I say, installer is the first thing, even above brand. But these guys are all that much more. You must have a good installer. So hopefully that's a little helpful for you guys. Get you, especially if you're just adjusting to one of these. I installed them for years, and then when I finally owned one, it frustrated me until I walked through the process of figuring out what it wanted to give me what I wanted. Thanks, guys.